Matthew Stafford is still the most underrated player in the NFL, and I don't know how he's not getting more love to win the MVP at this point. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. With the season that he's having, Matthew Stafford deserves to be right in the thick of that conversation to win the MVP. He is playing at an unbelievable level at 37 years old. His ability and longevity is unbelievable at this age, and I believe that Matthew Stafford can lead the Los Angeles Rams on a deep postseason run, and I do believe that he will throw his hat in the ring, and I think he can win the MVP. I really do think he can win the MVP. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Caden Kubler. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll be deep diving and breaking down this Rams season so far, along with Matthew Stafford and his potential odds at winning the MVP this season, because I do believe that he is having one of the best seasons that we've seen in his entire career at 37 years old, which is wild. Now, I did some research, looked at some of the oldest quarterbacks who have ever won the MVP, and of course, Tom Brady is up there. His name is involved in every single list you will ever find with everything, but he is up there as one of the older quarterbacks who've won the MVP. He did so at 40 years old. And then at number 2, you have Aaron Rodgers, who did so in 2021. He was 38 years old when he won the MVP. That was then the second year of his back-to-back when he won it at 37 in 2020. We've also seen Peyton Manning win the award in 2013 at 37 years old. Rich Gannon did so at 37 as well in 2002. And then in 1963, Y.A. Tittle did it at 37 years old. So we've got 4 quarterbacks who've done it at 37. Matthew Stafford has the opportunity of becoming the 5th ever quarterback who's won the award at 37. It would be an unbelievable mark. He would be one of the top quarterbacks in NFL history if he were to cap off this Hall of Fame resume with an MVP. Obviously, has got the Super Bowl, did so a few years ago with the Rams, one of the top passers in NFL history in terms of yards, in terms of touchdowns, you name it. And he's also produced 2 Triple Crown winners who no quarterback in the history of the game has been able to say that they have ever done. He obviously did so with Cooper Kupp and Calvin Johnson. Matthew Stafford may do it again this season with Puka Nacua, although he probably won't get there with the touchdowns. But Matthew Stafford right now, he leads the NFL in passing yards with over 1,500 through 5 games. That is a ridiculous pace. He has 11 touchdowns as well to only 2 interceptions. I looked at ESPN's projected stats for Matthew Stafford, and I couldn't believe my eyes. He is projected 5,100 yards. He's projected 37 touchdowns to only 7 interceptions. Ladies and gentlemen, if he were to do that, I think he deserves to win the MVP. If he throws for over 5,000 yards, Matthew Stafford deserves to win the MVP. In his entire career, he's only thrown over 5,000 yards one time, and he did so in his 3rd ever season in the NFL. He also had 41 touchdowns that year as well. That was an MVP caliber year, but obviously he was with the Lions, so they didn't have the best track record there in terms of winning. But Matthew Stafford would throw for the most yards in his entire career at 37 years old. That would be unbelievable. Now, to win the MVP as well, you've got to parlay that with winning games. Now, the Rams right now, I predicted them to go to the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year. I still believe they are the only team in the NFC that can beat the Philadelphia Eagles. This defense has really come along well, but they just love to shoot themselves in the foot in the beginning of the year. They do it every single year. They've done it over the last, 4 or 5 years maybe, where they start slow, maybe they get banged up, they're lethargic, they shoot themselves in the foot in games that they should win, and then it ultimately bites them because they don't get the best playoff seeding. But it's like if they can just get into the dance, they go on a run. Obviously won the Super Bowl a few years ago, but it seems like this team every single year, they love to start slow, and as long as they get into the dance, they've got a shot. And that's the way I'm looking at it this year. They're 3-2 right now. The Los Angeles Rams should absolutely be 5-0. Now, they lose to the Philadelphia Eagles 33-26 in this game. They were up 19 points in the 3rd quarter. Dumb mistakes. The offense goes flat. Stafford actually didn't even have 200 passing yards that game. He was a little quiet in the second half as well. This offense was just anemic in the second half. They lose to Philadelphia. No way in the world should they have lost that game, but they went to 2-1 after that loss. They picked it back up. They beat Indianapolis. I actually felt that was a game they could have lost with the Adonai Mitchell fumble out of the end zone and then his holding that resulted in a touchdown coming back. So fortunate that they were ultimately able to win that game against Indianapolis. And then on Thursday Night Football, The Rams had every opportunity to win this game. The 49ers were absolutely decimated. Mac Jones was in as the quarterback. They didn't have any of their top receivers on the outside, and the Rams fumbled on the 1 yard line with Kyron Williams. I mean, that seems to be a very common theme with this team at this point. The Rams, they continuously shoot themselves in the foot. Now they find themselves at 3-2. If this team was 5-0 with Matthew Stafford playing like this, I think he would be a top 3 candidate to actually win this award right now. And the reason I'm optimistic that he can ultimately win the MVP is because I believe the stats will continue to come. I think Matthew Stafford's going to have a huge year, and that's partially because of Puka Nacua, but I think it's also largely due to Davante Adams as well. When you have this type of receiving core right now, where defenses have to account for Puka, who is maybe the best receiver in football right now. He's probably top 3, number 1 in receptions, number 1 in yards. He's got 52 receptions and 588 yards through 5 weeks. Puka is going absolutely wild. When you've got to account for that, you also have to account for Davante Adams, who's been going insane since he became a Los Angeles Ram. Tutu Atwell is all of a sudden over the last few weeks really emerged as a deep threat burner speedster. He has come along really, really nicely for this Rams team. And of course, you have Kyron Williams. When he doesn't fumble the football, he's a top 10 running back in the league. And Matthew Stafford, of course, stirs the drink. Sean McVay, a terrific play caller. This Rams team has so many weapons that it is so hard for defenses to account for it. So I believe that Stafford will continue this. I believe they will continue to be hot offensively. As of right now, Stafford has the 6th best odds to win the MVP. Josh Allen's at number 1, Mahomes at number 2, Jordan Love at 3, Baker Mayfield at 4, and him and Jared Goff are tied at 5 at plus 1,400. Now, the wins will come for the Rams. I do believe that the wins will come. They've got a very easy schedule upcoming. They've got to take care of business, though. They can't shoot themselves in the foot. They can't play lethargic. I think they'll get a nice bounce back against Baltimore on the road this week, and then they will go for an international game against Jacksonville. I like them to win that one as well. If they can go 5-2 into the bye week and get healthy, I look at the rest of the schedule. I mean, you've got New Orleans, you've got San Francisco on the road, you've got Seattle, you've got Tampa Bay, Arizona, Carolina, Detroit, Seattle again, Atlanta, and Arizona. I mean, realistically, this Rams team, I think they can win 12 or 13 games without a doubt. Now, I just keep thinking back to if they didn't shoot themselves in the foot, it's like, man, they could have won 13 or 14 games with ease, but this Rams team, they can truly beat anybody, and I know they're not worried about, okay, how many games are we going to win in the regular season? We just want to get into the playoffs regardless. I know kind of all of this is like, oh, is Stafford going to win the MVP? How many games are we going to win in the regular season? If I'm a Rams fan, I'm thinking, hey, this team, as long as we get into the dance healthy, keyword healthy, because that's been the biggest thorn in the Rams side over the last few years. If you guys can get into the dance healthy, you can beat anybody. And I do believe that the Rams will get to the Super Bowl. I think this team is good enough to win the Super Bowl. The defense has come along at a terrific rate. This offense has been unstoppable with Davante Adams in the mix. I love what the Rams are cooking up right now, but I believe that Matthew Stafford has a really good shot at winning the MVP this year and could become the 3rd oldest quarterback in the history of the game to win the award at 37 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Caden Kubler, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. See you later.